All right, the controversy of the night tonight was Paul Craig versus Rodolfo Bellato.
Why was it a controversy? Why? I don't understand.
I mean, Paul Craig should have won, right?
Why?
Well, I mean, like you're okay with the John Jones.
That's the last thing that I would have said is that he could have been DQ'd. Well, could have lost.
You said John Jones, his one should be removed from his record because of the 12-6 elbow. Now that's a legal rule.
Okay, so do me do me a favor. Do me a favor. Tell me the time that
George,
even when you were fighting, or any time since you've been out of fighting and commentating stuff. Tell me the time that that you said that a knee on the ground didn't make you a grounded fighter.
Well, John, I mean, I was fighting before they had rules, so it didn't really. There's no rules.
It's very simple.
I was fighting in, John. They didn't have rules, John. Like there was soccer kicks to the head.
There were.
There was no mouthpieces. They just cared that you wore gloves, and half the time you didn't have to wear.
No, you didn't have to do that in the beginning either. So
you didn't tape them. You didn't do any of that stuff. Yeah.
But the whole thing is, Paul Craig is sits there and it's like he goes he actually goes down into the position that Bellato was in with one knee on the ground and one knee up. That's the position he was in, and you threw an up kick to a grounded fighter. What do you want, dude? You did it. And he's like, no, he's like this. And it's like, even that wasn't part of the rule change. It was, you used to be able to put your hands down to the ground with your feet on the ground and it would make you a grounded fighter. We've always had it. You know what? Any part of your body that touches the ground, knees, elbows, butts, backs, you're grounded. Nothing's changed. And you went and decided to throw an up kick when he's on one knee. Good job. You lose. Or you're lucky enough to get a draw. No contest.
Do you think there was some acting involved?
I'm going to be honest. When I've always said, hey, look at the first reaction of the fighter. Okay, and his first reaction is like, what? Exactly. Yeah. But then he kind of does this, he puts himself all the way back and his eyes kind of go, and he goes, it was the way he kind of came back that tells me, I think his brain shut off. The human brain does some weird things at times. And the way he came back and he was like, I look and I go, he might have actually gone out, almost like you see people, on like the slingshot stuff where you get, they get shot from the ground up into the air and the bungee, and you see them go out, and stuff. Almost like that, he moved his head in a certain way after getting kicked, and then his brain went and went off. So there was no reason.
Bungee, John, that's from having a panic attack because they're fucking afraid of heights.
Hold on. There's no reason for him. He's not in a position he has to fake.
Why do you say that?
Because it's simple as far as he was fouled. It was clear that he was fouled, right? He can sit there and without faking like he's going out, he can sit there and say, you know what, I don't feel right, or I'm seeing double or whatever. He doesn't have to go through all of the manipulations. I'm not saying that it didn't look a little bit funky in the beginning, but the way that he did come back made me almost think, you know what, his brain might have turned off.
Yeah.
So, because he did some funky stuff that you normally don't see people do.
Mr. McCarthy said your brain shuts off quite a bit these days. So
yeah, my brain hasn't popped on in years.
Well, and she said in both heads kind of shuts off sometimes.
There's this one problem this man has never had, so I don't worry about that.
That it's never turned on.
Yeah, it's never turned on.
Look.
What did you think?
I mean, like I kind of saw two different types of arguments. One was like he was winning the fight. He didn't really need to fake it. That was one argument. Two is I didn't run with that argument only based on the fact that fighters don't know the rules. They're always trying to game the system. Every single fighter will try to game the system.
Sure.
And you've been around top world class fighters. You've been around, fairground fighters like myself. And so when it comes to those guys, they're always trying to game the system. Like, okay, like when they turn to the ref. So if I can't continue, do I win? How many times have you heard that, John?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
So, I mean, like in this situation, I felt like he was gaming the system a little bit. But like you said, we don't know. The brain's a very mysterious thing. I
It
mean,
is.
they have no idea how it reacts. And I mean, like I said, I've been hit, wide awake, eyes wide open, but couldn't move my body to protect my face from hitting the canvas. And then I hit the canvas. And
Yeah, but see, but you're still connected as far as you're still connected physically as far as your sight and your sound, and you know where you're at, but you're not connected to your body.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of look at the brain does weird things. So I'm just gonna go with it was a funky way. Paul Craig is responsible for the up kick. It was wrong. He was a grounded fighter, and Paul Craig's lucky to come away with a no contest.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, it's just like we got to have you film your John McCarthy by the rules either tonight or tomorrow, so we can drop that so people can get walk through. I looked at it as a fighter like gaming the system, but then I played all these other scenarios in my head, like why he was winning the fight.
Yep.
And even still, fighters don't know the rules because I'm one of those past fighters that still didn't know the rules. And then, like I said, fighters will often ask, like, okay, if I can't continue, do I win? They always want to know how they can game the system. And they'll literally ask the referee in the cage. So if I can't go on, like, do I win? Like, am I going to end? Those are things that you start to, and it just seemed a little, like, forced.
It was awkward.
It was very awkward.
But it was really awkward because he was trying to grapple with the referee.
Yeah.
He actually he's hooking the leg behind. He's getting his leg inside. I'm like, he thinks he's still in a fight, but a little weird.
Well, that goes back to my argument is that when fighters are kind of knocked out semi, but not really, like their body automatically does what they've been trained to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So like we go back to the California Commission and try to appeal my case, right? I'll be like, see, this is what happens. Your body just automatically wants to do that. They said
you did it so well that there was no way that your brain was disconnected. So good job. You're a hell of an actor.
I just pulled half guard on the ref. He did it so well. And he was out. So.
This episode is brought to you by BetUS. Make sure you guys YouTube 150 for the promo code. Also, Element, use the link in the descriptions down below. Any product you buy from there, they will send you a bonus package of product if you use our link down below. Element's amazing, man. I love it. And I want to say thank you, man. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support us.